I know I'm supposed to make a video for quite some time right now, but the reason I've been procrastinating is because there's a lot happening in my life right now. I'm at a crossroads. So I'm not going to go into that. The purpose of this video is to tell you about my trip in Australia, the outback, the wild, and in a nutshell, it was a very good experience. I would say that there was no hiccups at all even during my stay there in the wild. Setting up the tent, making sure the tent was all right, properly hooked up, planted firmly into the sand. There was no grounds actually. There was only sands and lots of sand and grasses, grass that grows on half mud and half sand actually. So I had my tent on a slope and it was going down this way. So I had to have it firmly planted because the wind comes in really strong at night because I was by the beach. I couldn't go further in because those were the Aboriginal land. The problem came, you see all this bites here right now? Did you see all this? I had loads of them, even on my legs too. Look at that, look at this. This is not from nature. This is from humans. Humanity gave me this. Why? Well, I trudged my way back to civilization after my 3 days, 2 nights stint with the wild. And I had no problems like that. I mean, I was baked to the core. I mean, I was red. I mean, red, so red, my skin was so sensitive to the touch. Okay, I was red all over like a lobster. But that was not a problem. The biggest problem was that when they admitted me to the medical center, and then they vehemently demanded that I stay a night there and not go back to Broome. I was at one point. This ambulance driver, which is a grouch, but he still got a good heart. He bought me lunch, a chicken drumstick. He's a grouchy guy, like, oh yeah, I don't get things done. Doesn't really smile. I think he only smiles with his loved ones anyway. So very English, more English than Aussie anyway. So anyway, so he drove me around, and then we were at this petrol kiosk. It's a shack actually. So when did he get something, and he was asking about the accommodation, and for a really, what do you call that? Really flimsy, a really kind of I would rather call it a vagrant kind of accommodation. They charge you about 200 Australian dollars for that. So I refused to pay that amount of money. Then along comes this guy. Now he's an Aussie white, Caucasian. And of course, naturally white, you would think that, well, he's got to be having a family which is also probably white. But that was not the case. The case was that he got himself an Aboriginal woman and he had kids with her. I wasn't aware of that. He said that he's got his godson, which would take care of me in his other house. So I said thank you very much. I was really appreciative. I mean, he says you can stay there if you're on a budget, on a shoestring budget, and I said okay, that was fine. So I stayed there. He drove me there, and I tell you, there were burnt tires, there were broken down vehicles right in front of the house, and there's this pungent smell of rotting carcass. I do not know, it was like really rotting carcass outside there. The whole place was a mess, and they were sitting down there, and they invited me to sit on a chair that has this thick layer of dust. I just showered in the medical center, and I was very, very apprehensive about dirtying myself again. But I didn't want to be rude and come off as a snob or a cold fish as a snob. You know, oh, you think you're clean, you think you're a high class white guy or whatever it is. So, I made myself sit down, and that's where I get all these bites. I couldn't show you right now, it's obscene. There were red lumps all over, like I was having scabies, measles. Not scabies, measles actually. Lepros, more the word for it. And you know what's the most disturbing thing was, I waited there for a long time, and then I couldn't wait outside again because the dust and everything was getting to me, so I decided to wait inside. Now, that was jumping from the frying pan into the fire, because when I went inside, it was so musky. And look at this bed. This is a fresh bed, but their mattress was torn up. I mean, there was no mattress cover, there was nothing. It was just foam, foam, and if you really look closely, I think you can see worms and human fleas jumping around, like that. And the whole mattress was all stained with dirt and dust. The cat would not even sleep on it, but the kids were playing with it. I don't want to show you pictures of them because it's very rude of me, okay? And I would be coming across, if they really do see my channel, they'll be really hurt, and I don't want to hurt people like that. But they really got to, the Aussie government really got to educate these people on personal hygiene. They have absolutely no idea on what personal hygiene is all about. The dining table, they got roaches. I swear to you, on my mother's grave, there were roaches, 4 or 5 roaches scurrying around, and the layer of dust was this thick. The kitchen sink, you couldn't put any more unwashed plates or bowls anymore in the kitchen sink. There were scraps of rotting, half-eaten food, chicken, fish, whatever it is. You just cannot differentiate anymore what was left inside the kitchen sink, because everything was rotting, and the pungent smell of rotting carcass permeates the entire house, and it was really choking the bloody hell out of me. I couldn't breathe. And you know what's worse? The cat was so cute, but it was a flea infested cat. It was a flea bag. I held it onto my hand, and this is what happened. Look at this. Did you see this? Did you see this? This is what happened. So the cat flea bit me on top of the human flea. And if you think that was bad enough, listen to this. Okay, so eventually they said that this guy is still at work, he hasn't called back, and I think he was deliberately doing that, okay? Because normally, according to his godson, which is a tall guy and he's also half bred, he's not his real son, but this Aboriginal woman has been humping white guys. So her first husband is also white. Now this guy who offered me a shelter is also white. So clearly she's been humping Caucasians, okay? So because the first one also, they came out all half bred. So anyway, not that it really matters, not at all to me. I don't really care, but I care more about the flea infested house and the contamination and everything. So this guy decided to say, hey, let's take a drive out. Now the car seat, you know how difficult it is to just take a small little vacuum and vacuum the seat. You got chocolates, nuts, I mean whatever it is, I don't know, bird seed or whatever it is, bird droppings, guano, I don't know, but the layer of dust is so thick in the car seat, you cannot even sit down. I don't know, my trousers was all stained, not from nature, from sitting in their cars, in their chairs, in the house, and all these bites is not from nature. I never had all this bite when I was living out in the wild. I had it within just a few hours living with them. Can you imagine how filthy human can be? I got a brown snake that slithered right in between my legs, and slept with me because they needed the body warm. The little, well, it's not a little, it was a huge brown snake. But I didn't really care. I was shivering like shit, and the brown snake, I guess, was just as cold too. So it was like, slithering up. I could feel the slithery, but I like the snake skin anyway. It was so smooth and so nice to the touch. So I kind of enjoy the snake slithering up to me. Kind of sensuous actually. So I didn't bother. I didn't care if it bite me or doesn't bite me. But I think animals gets me. Okay, they understand. I can relate very well with them, and a lot of people would just freak out with such a long, big, huge brown snake slithering up to you and things like that, take a chunk out of you. It didn't really bother me. It was slithering up and curling around, and I like it. Okay, and I felt very acquainted with it. But in the morning it left. It just leave me like that, and it's fine. Okay. I never had all this. Even the brown snake from the wild slept next to me. I never had bites all over me. But the moment I stay with humans, I get all this motherfucking bites, man. Pardon me for my profanity, okay? So they drove me right into the wild, into this inside the forest. There were still tracks for the cars to go in. Eventually we ran all the way in, and I was thinking to myself, Wolf Creek, that's in Australia, and that was based on a true story, the movie Wolf Creek. If you haven't known what it was, go watch that movie. Okay, Wolf Creek is based on a true story. People were slaughtered. Okay, campers like myself was brought to the end of the woods and got slaughtered in the barren outback of Australia, and they literally was dismembered. And I was, there was two guys. I was thinking it would still be a tough fight for me, two guys, and they was driving all the way in to the woods, and I was the only one. I have a survival knife and a axe with me, but it would take me some time to reach into my bag, open my lock, and retrieve my knife. So I couldn't have time, and if I run, I would have been lost, because it was all the way right into the woods, and they were driving and driving and driving for the last 15 minutes, and I'm going to run my way out. I don't have the stamina. I haven't been exercising for a long time, so I left it to fate. I said that if they're really going to turn me into food, then my God, this is not the way to die. I don't want to die like that. Anyway, it was scary. So they brought me to the end of the wood, and they came upon those tents. If you watch my videos later on, you'll be able to see those tents. Okay. Now, more disturbing is his place was. They got clothes. You could have just picked up the clothes on the floor. The clothes were strewn all over the floors, and those clothes were on the floor, has been there for ages. They've been left to gather dust, sand. They were trampled upon by unwashed feet, shoes, and those clothes were of no use anymore, because they was all trampled, and how difficult it is to just pick it up, put them in a paper bag or in a trash bin, or put it in a laundry bag and go wash them. I mean, it's so easy to just clear as you go. And they don't do that, and he's oblivious to it. No, he flipped open the bed. He was looking for his grass. Those marijuana grass, those ganja, they call it ganja grass, to burn and gets high. So this guy was looking for the grass to burn, and he wanted to smoke heroin, and he offered me, "Do you smoke?" I said, "Not anymore." "Why don't you try some?" I said, No, I'm way beyond that right now. Come on. He got offended because I didn't accept his offer, and I'm not gonna try ganja right now. Hell no. Then he's got heroin. And he started blowing, pounding the thing, and he was, "Oh yeah, ooh," and you should do it, man. And I said, "No, dude, I'm not gonna go there." God, so that's his prerogative. I don't care, but what really bothers me the most was the condition of the entire place. Okay, it was. Even pigsty doesn't come close to that. It was so nauseating. And then he cooked for me. That was really nice. But the pan were not washed, and he just rinsed it, and then he threw the food inside there, and they don't even scrub. They were grease. Left there for months on end or whatever, and you're boiling the new beef or sausages. But how do you tell the person, "No, I'm not going to eat. Let me do the washing for you"? You can't do that. He's your host. And you don't want to be rude because you're alone in a whole family of, you know, you'll be glad they don't turn into cannibals and dismember you and start eating you. They do that in Thailand too. So what's to stop them from doing that to me? Now the scary part is coming up. So he cooked rice, surprisingly, not potatoes. Caucasian eating rice. Wow. And I ate with them. It tastes a bit funny. No sauce, no nothing. It was a bit tough, but I ate. Not as tough as that steak, you know, that ribs. That was not. I tell you, it's not from the cow or from the ox or anything. It's from something else. Okay, they refuse to show it to me. Those guys are horrible. They eat. Oh, I don't know what they eat. Those things are totally inedible. You can't even chew them. And it's not beef, that's for sure. Anyway, let's get back to that again. So, I ate, we had a conversation, and finally I said I want to turn in. Now, that was a scary thing because I went back to the tent. They have a tent there. Then suddenly as I lie down, it dawns upon me that those fellas didn't turn off the car. They had the car engine on. The whole night, almost the whole night, while I was dozing. And then I think to myself, early on was this guy alone and 2 other teenagers. Now there's 3 other adults that came to join him. And the reason I know is because there were 3 different voices, all grown man voices. I couldn't decipher what they were talking about amidst the wind, the howling of the wind, and the crashing of the tides coming in. But they sounded serious. And do you have this instinct? They call it the sixth sense. You know something is going to happen. Ah, fuck! Just a minute. My favorite pants, shorts. Oh dear. So you have this innate ability to know that something might not be going right. And suddenly, I felt that they were going to mark me in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping and do something. Dismember me, cook me, chop me up. I don't know, but this is really getting like Wolf Creek, and it was really creepy. So I went into my bag, I took out my knife, my survival knife. Well, it's about this. It still do the trick. I mean, you don't stab them in your, you don't stab them in your what, you just go straight for the throat, up, or right into the temporal lobe and things like that. I'm in a medical, so I know what to do. And the axe, so I got these 2 next to me, and I couldn't really sleep because I was scared anytime they might just open up. So I zipped it from inside out, outside in, and things like that. The zip and everything. I zipped, and I started to listen for it, but it was very difficult because the wind was howling, the tide was crashing in, so there was 2 noises and everything, and you can hear people. They had their engine on, and I couldn't understand why they were having their car engine on. So I don't know what's going on, and I didn't want to look out. And I think they wanted me to stay for another night, and I think they was waiting for me to stay another night, and they can do it the next night, okay? Because it was the first night, and the ambulance driver was the one that sent me in. So the next day, most probably, if he meets them, or he might just come and check out on me. So most probably they didn't do anything to me. Maybe on a pretext that this ambulance driver might want to check out on me the next day, but they decided that it could be the second night. So the reason I know this was because he was adamantly insisting that I stay for another night. Now he lent me his long pants, long trousers, unwashed. He just said, you know what, the night is getting really cold. Now, I got a fetish to wear people's nice pants and things, but that pants wasn't nice, okay? It's not like this one, okay? I took this off from someone over in Singapore. And I like the fabric. It's shine and it's smooth cotton. And so anyway, this is from Singapore. And I wore it. Now that was the bloody biggest mistake. Okay, I wore it. And this is what it did to me. Imagine this all over my thighs here. Imagine this all over my backside and everything, all over my thighs. It was like that because the whole trousers was infested with human fleas. The fleas was all there and they beat me the entire night. I didn't wear his shirt, I only wore my t-shirt, and there was no bite on my back or on my body. So clearly it's his pants. The pants was so goddamn dirty. Most probably he picked up from the floor and he gave it to me. All those infested fleas were on it. It was a bag of fleas. The next day when I woke up, I tell you, I was shocked beyond words because red lumps, huge ones. I mean, these are dried up, these are healing. But red, huge ones, I bet you they could have laid their eggs inside, and the little, small little fleas were running around inside under my skin or whatever it is, but it itches like fuck. And it didn't get any better. Even when I went back to Broome, it got worse. It's like those things were hatching inside me. Sounds like the alien, isn't it? The alien covenants. So those little flea bags were laying eggs under my skin, and then they were giving birth, and they were like attacking the other parts, and the whole thing became worse. And I don't have travel insurance, so the doctor says you'd be prepared to pay a few thousands to have yourself treated, and I said no. So when I wanted to go back, fly back. No, I didn't fly back. Did I fly back? No, I didn't fly back. I hitched a ride back. And he was so unhappy because when I found my ride, I said, hey, thank you for everything. I wanted to shake his hand. He refused even to meet me in my eyes. He just totally ignored me. He just looked down and he was like gritting his teeth. So then I knew that he wanted me to stay under the night for reasons known only to himself, unknown to me, but only to himself. He was very unhappy. He wanted me to stay that one more night. How could I stay that one more night? I couldn't stay that one more night. I couldn't stay that one more night because I'm going to be beaten to death. Maybe that's what he wants. I don't know. I don't know how they work inside here. But how do you do the math with Wolf Creek? That guy can just slaughter and dismember, dig out their eyeballs and cut out their intestines, and then how can anybody want to do that? You cannot go into the mind of a cannibal or a murderer. You don't know what they're thinking. And clearly this guy was very unhappy about this because he wouldn't even shake my hand. I had my two hands out. I said, thank you very much. He wouldn't even look at me in my eyes. So he was very, very upset. He was angry, I think. He looks very angry. And I don't care what he's going to do about this. I got this guy's there and I'm going to go. So my trip back to Broome was fantastic. I hitched my way back, bought this guy at McDonald's and everything else, and washed up, and things didn't work out right, so I flew off. And the next 2 days later, I flew back, away from Australia. I will stop here. I'm not going to go any further, but my purpose of this video is to tell you, because I have one of my subscriber, I don't know did she really subscribe to me or not, but well, there was a comment that those folks were really nice, and they said, they were not of the best intentions. The invitation to their place was not of the best intentions. So sometimes the gullibility or the naiveness of the person like myself can get us into trouble. So I like to think at that time that it was really very hospitable, very gallant, very nice of them. But then it didn't clearly work out the way I thought it was going to be. The same as one of my subscriber who commented that, well, that's wonderful, they invited you to your place, and thank God for them and things like that. But clearly, again, it's a misconstrue of intentions. I am still recovering right now. I'm not doing very well because it still itches. I'm still washing with cohastidine, antiseptics and things like that. It's drying up, but it still does. I still do scratch them. I tried getting rid of the, I think they do lay eggs. I do not know. I went to see this fucking dermatologist. And he's very nonchalant about the whole thing. He didn't really care because you know how mercenary medical business are right now. They monopolize everything. So anyway, this is it. Okay, I'm back to wearing my favorite shirt again, and I just want to say this again. Human fails me. They hurt me. All this. I can live in Mother Nature. No water. I ran out of water with the heat and everything, and I survived better. I survived among even a bobcat shares its food with me. The snake came up to sleep with me. The wild birds came after me after feeding them. A few of them even rested on my hands, and I feed them on it. So, animals are really lovely. People are not. And just one night with them, I end up with all these bites that would scar me for life. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.